Welcome back to Chrono Tales, where the dead refuse to rest in peace. I'm your host, and tonight's tale will make you question whether cemeteries truly offer eternal rest or eternal unrest. This is the haunting story of Echoes from the Cemetery. They say the dead tell no tales. But in Willowmere Cemetery, the dead won't stop talking. And sometimes, they have very urgent messages for the living. Marcus Thompson had been the night groundskeeper at Willowmere Cemetery for exactly 3 weeks when he first heard the voices. It was a Tuesday in late November, the kind of night when fog rolled in thick as cotton and made the weathered headstones look like silent sentries in the darkness. Marcus turned toward the voice and saw her, a translucent figure in a white dress, standing beside a headstone carved with roses. She appeared to be in her 30s, with long dark hair and eyes that held infinite sadness. At 11:47 p.m., Marcus was checking the locks on the maintenance shed when he heard it. A woman's voice calling for help.
Please, someone help me.
Hello, is someone there? The cemetery's closed?
Marcus waited for a response, scanning the rows of headstones with his flashlight. Probably just teenagers playing pranks, he thought. It wouldn't be the first time kids had climbed the fence for some late-night thrills. But as he continued his rounds, checking each section of the cemetery methodically, the voice came again. This time it was closer.
Help me, I can't find my way.
Marcus spun around, his flashlight cutting through the fog. The beam illuminated rows of headstones, a few old oak trees, and the Victorian mausoleum that housed the Blackwood family. But no living person anywhere.
Look, whoever you are, you need to leave. This is private property.
I can't leave. I don't know how.
The voice was moving. Marcus followed the sound through the older section of the cemetery, past headstones so weathered their inscriptions had become illegible. His flashlight beam danced across granite angels and iron crosses, creating grotesque shadows that seemed to reach toward him. And then Marcus realized he wasn't alone. There were other voices now, whispers floating on the night air like smoke.
Been waiting so long.
Mama? Is that you, Mama?
My roses. Who's tending my roses?
Marcus stood frozen as the voices multiplied around him. They seemed to come from the graves themselves, rising from the earth like morning mist. His flashlight flickered, the beam growing dimmer despite fresh batteries.
This isn't real. This isn't happening.
Oh, but it is real, Marcus. We're all very real.
Marcus turned toward the voice and saw her, a translucent figure in a white dress, standing beside a headstone carved with roses. She appeared to be in her 30s, with long dark hair and eyes that held infinite sadness.
I'm Margaret Winters. I died in 1953. Car accident on the highway just outside town.
You're dead.
Yes, Marcus. But death isn't the end of awareness. It's just a change of perspective.
Other spirits began to materialize around Marcus. An old man in a work shirt, a young boy clutching a teddy bear, an elderly woman in a flowered dress. Each one transparent, each one watching him with desperate hope.
Name's Jim Patterson. Died in 78, heart attack at the factory.
I'm Tommy. I got sick and never got better. I've been waiting for my mama to visit, but she never comes.
Rose Hartwell. I planted the rose garden by the east gate. Been dead 22 years, but nobody tends my flowers anymore.
Marcus looked around at the growing circle of spirits, his mind struggling to process what he was seeing. They weren't threatening or malevolent. They seemed lonely.
What do you want from me?
We want what we've always wanted, Marcus. To be remembered. To have our stories told. To know that our lives mattered.
The spirits began to share their stories. Margaret had been a school teacher who died the night before her wedding. Jim had worked double shifts to support his family and died before he could retire. Little Tommy had been only 6, taken by pneumonia before antibiotics became common. Rose had been the town's unofficial historian, documenting every family and event.
My grandson graduated college last month. I wanted to be there, but...
Do you think my mama still remembers me? It's been so long.
The town council wants to tear down the old Miller farmhouse. They don't know it was a stop on the Underground Railroad.
Marcus realized these weren't just ghosts haunting a cemetery. They were people who had unfinished business. Messages undelivered, stories untold.
Why can you all suddenly appear to me? Why now?
You're the first person to work here who can see us, Marcus. We've been trying to communicate for decades, but most people just walk right through us.
Marcus looked down at his feet and saw that he was standing directly on top of a small, unmarked grave. The moment he stepped off it, the spirits became slightly less solid, their voices more distant.
That's the grave of Sarah Mills, a psychic who died in 1923. She was buried here without proper rites because the townspeople thought she was a witch. Her presence, it amplifies our ability to reach the living world.
What am I supposed to do with this? I'm just a groundskeeper.
You're more than that now, Marcus. You're our voice.
Over the next hour, Marcus listened as each spirit shared their urgent message. Margaret wanted her fiancé, now an elderly man living in a nursing home, to know she had loved him until her final moment. Jim needed someone to tell his family about the money he'd hidden in the basement wall. Tommy just wanted his mother to know he was okay and not to cry anymore. Marcus pulled out his security logbook and began writing down everything they told him. Addresses, names, hidden objects, unspoken apologies, declarations of love that had never been delivered.
Mrs. Patterson at 247 Elm Street. She's Jim's widow. She never remarried because she thought he died angry at her for working late that night.
Tell her it wasn't her fault. Tell her I was proud of her for keeping the family together.
My mama's name is Linda Morrison now. She lives on Sunrise Avenue. She visits my grave every year on my birthday and Christmas.
Rose had the most complex message. She rattled off a list of historical properties that were about to be demolished, each one containing irreplaceable pieces of the town's history.
The basement of the old pharmacy has Civil War medical supplies still in their original containers. The Whitman house has letters hidden in the walls, love letters from soldiers who never came home.
More spirits had gathered, drawn by the unprecedented opportunity to communicate with the living world. There were dozens of them now, each with a story, each with something important to say.
Tell them about the gold buried under the old oak by Miller's Creek. It was meant for the hospital fund.
My daughter thinks I abandoned her when she was 3. I didn't. I died of typhoid. She's in the County Historical Society now. Tell her I never stopped loving her.
Suddenly, all the voices stopped. The spirits turned toward the cemetery entrance, their translucent forms shimmering with what looked like fear.
Someone's coming. Someone who can't see us, but can sense us. We have to fade now, Marcus.
Wait, I have more questions.
Tomorrow night, Marcus. Come back tomorrow night, and we'll tell you more. But please, deliver our messages. Give us the peace of knowing we've been heard.
A police car pulled through the cemetery gates, its spotlight sweeping across the grounds. Officer Bradley had received a call about strange lights in the cemetery.
Evening, Marcus. Everything all right out here? Got a call about unusual activity.
Just doing my rounds, Officer Bradley. All quiet.
As the police car drove away, Marcus looked down at his notebook. Pages of handwriting in his own hand, filled with names, addresses, and messages that could change lives, if anyone would believe him. The next morning, Marcus began the most difficult task of his life. He started with Tommy's mother, Linda Morrison. He found her address and knocked on her door, his notebook trembling in his hands.
Yes, can I help you?
Mrs. Morrison, this is going to sound strange, but I work at Willowmere Cemetery and I have a message from your son Tommy.
Linda Morrison broke down crying when Marcus told her Tommy's message, that he was happy, that he wasn't sick anymore, and that she should stop crying for him because he was playing with other children in a place where no one ever got sick.
He really said that he's not sick anymore.
He wanted you to know he's okay, Mrs. Morrison. He watches over you and he loves you.
Next was Jim Patterson's widow. When Marcus told her about the hidden money and Jim's message, she led him straight to the basement. Behind a loose brick in the wall, they found $15,000 in cash and a note Jim had written before his death.
My darling wife, if you're reading this, it means I didn't get the chance to tell you how proud I am of you. The money is for your retirement. Stop working so hard and enjoy life. All my love, Jim.
One by one, Marcus delivered the messages. He contacted the Historical Society about Rose's information, leading to the preservation of 3 buildings and the discovery of priceless historical artifacts. He visited Margaret's elderly fiancé, who had waited 70 years to hear that she had loved him. With each message delivered, Marcus felt a weight lifting from his shoulders. But more than that, he noticed changes at the cemetery. The oppressive atmosphere began to lighten. The fog wasn't as thick. The shadows weren't as dark. That night, when Marcus returned to the cemetery for his shift, fewer spirits appeared. Those who did come seemed lighter somehow, more at peace.
Thank you, Marcus. Thomas received your message for the first time in 70 years. I saw him smile.
My Mary found the money and the note. She's going to Florida like we always planned.
My mama stopped crying, Marcus. She's smiling now when she thinks about me.
Over the following weeks, more spirits found peace and moved on. The cemetery became quieter, but it was a peaceful quiet now, not the oppressive silence of the unheard. Marcus continued his work as both groundskeeper and messenger. Word spread quietly through certain circles about the man who could carry messages from the dead. He received visitors, people hoping to hear from lost loved ones, but he only delivered the messages he was given. And sometimes, on particularly quiet nights, Marcus would stand on Sarah Mill's unmarked grave and listen for new voices, new stories, new messages that needed to be delivered. Because he had learned that death wasn't the end of love, or hope, or the human need to be remembered. The dead, it turned out, had quite a lot to say. They just needed someone willing to listen, and someone brave enough to carry their words back to the world of the living. And that concludes tonight's tale from Chrono Tales. Remember, the next time you visit a cemetery, listen carefully. You might hear more than just the wind through the trees. You might hear echoes of lives lived, love lost, and messages waiting to be delivered. Thank you for joining me in the darkness. Until next time, remember that every grave has a story, and sometimes those stories are still being told.